Alright guys, welcome back to the new video, and this video I'm going to show you how the extension can be used to format the code when we just click on the save button, says Ctrl S, or we click on the file and also click on the save here. So what extension that I use, and what kind of the other extension that can also be used to basically just to save a lot of time when typing the code. I can also say is that when we try to create like a functional component or maybe class component, how are we going to use that function of that extension to save the time so that we don't need to type too much. Alright, so before getting into that, I want to also mention about what the lecture that we are going, the video that we are going to create here, that include the loop through array and also object, and I'm going to explain the differences between functional and class components. Also, you guys can also find out the link in the description. I'm going to link it to the GitHub, so you guys can actually download this from that link as well, and it will link to my account on GitHub. Okay, so now I will go to this icon. You can search for Prettier code formatter right here. So after searching that, you can actually click on the install button. And what you are going to do next is that you need to enable this plugin. Otherwise, you can't really see any different when you try to click on the Ctrl S or file, click on the save button. So what you are going to do, first you need to go to the file and navigate to preferences, click on the settings. So now what you're going to do, you search for format on save. So when you search for that, so here's the result. You can already see that format a file on save, and a formatter must be available. So you need to enable install the plugin first so that you can actually use this feature. So I'm going to show you is that I'm going to this code editor, and I try to just put anything like the indentation just to make it look like very messy. And now when I click on the file and save, you can already see that the format automatically change, and this will save us a lot of time that not going to do all those retyping Ctrl Z or something like this. Alright, so what if I try to disable this and I go back, just want to see how it affects the change. So when I try again, you can already see that nothing changed. So traditionally we just go back and change it one by one, stuff like this, and it takes a lot of times. So I'm going to enable this again, and I try to close it and click on Ctrl S. So you can already see the differences here. Okay, so this is one of the extension. The next one is the ES7 React, Redux, GraphQL, React Native Snippets. So the names is a little bit longer, but this helps us a lot as well when you try to create, say, class component or functional component. So we can actually see through a little bit about this. So these are all the shortcut that if we want to create like import a module name from something, you can just click on type IMP plus the tab key, then it will automatically import this statement for you. So what I'm looking at right now here is the React. So if you want to import React from somewhere, you can just type so I'm gonna demonstrate for you, IMO and then tab, or you can use your mouse to click on this, so you can see that you don't need to type one by one import React, stuff like this. So this is one of the plugin. It's quite popular. As you can see, there's 3 million already. Okay, so next one is that there are many features you can look into this, and what I'm going to show is that how we actually use this plugin to create the functional or class component. At the same time, I want to mention that after you install this, you don't need to enable anything just as a Prettier code formatter. After you install it, it will enable by itself, and you can see the effects from that. Okay, so I'm going to look for the class component and how we are going to use it. So here we can already see React components. So if I want to create like a class component, I can just type this. So rcce. Okay, so I scroll down and we are now in the index.js. So I'm not gonna create like a new one just to demonstrate you that feature. I'm going to type it right here. So rcce plus tab. So you can already see that it automatically generate a class component right here, and it saves you a lot of time. Say when you try to create like a new file, you don't need to do all those typing. Okay, so that's one is the rcce, and you can look into this. There's quite a few of them. You can actually look into it. Okay, so the next shortcut I'm going to show you is to create a functional component. So how you're going to do it, you just need to type rfce. So you can see that create React functional component. So when I click on this, you can already see the difference here. The other one is quite similar to this as well. It's also create a functional component. So you can just type rfc, which is the second one, E. When I click on tab button, so this create a functional component as well, but this is in a different format. So you can see this default export default function, and this is the index coming from the name of the index.js, and this one is a little quite similar, which is just create a function right here and it export down here instead. So yep, these are the keywords that I generally use, and you guys can use other shortcut from here as well. So what I'm going to do next, I'm going to show you the differences between functional component and class component. So now have a look at it. Alright, so now here is the article talking about the differences between functional and class component and what are the benefits of each of this. So you can already see that when I scroll down, it says the benefit of it. So let's get into this. So here's the differences between the two. Right here, first of all, we can already see that the first difference is the syntax. That obviously we can already see from that. And here's the snippet. This is the functional component by the bubble. So you can see the difference right here. And this is the exact same component read as a class component, and it's using this with the bubble. Okay, so here it says that the change with the React, the hooks is already updated, and right now it's quite popular. People just use state or hooks just to state within the functional components. And we are going to look into React hook as well, but not in this tutorial. We will look into it later on. Okay, because so it's a class component is just a plain JavaScript, so we cannot use the set state. So set state, we already looked into that already, like how we actually set data into a variable, and then we can use that later on. So functional component does not have that feature. We cannot use set state within a functional component. So here it can also get called as a functional stateless component. So every time that you see a functional component and it doesn't have its own state. So here if you need a state in your component, you will need to create like a functional component. That's the difference. Or you feed a state up in the parent component and pass it down to a functional component via prop. if we want to use the state, we can actually use it with the functional component. But if you want to try to use that, the only method is to pass down the state via the props. So again, here it says React hook or update it. We will look into that. And the next one is, why should we I use the functional component at all? Okay, so here are the benefits. So functional components are much easier to read and test, even though it has some kind of same feature, and you end up writing less code, and it helps you back practices, and it's easier separate and presentable component that you need to think more about your component state if you don't want to access that state in the component. So if you don't want to use set state or use the state in our React say one file or React app, then it's good to just use the functional component unless we want to create some sort of set state. And mention that the performance boost for functional component in the React versions. So you can already see the differences here, and yeah, that's basically it. And also I have opened up this website as well. It also mentioned about the functional component and class components, so you can have a read at the differences between here as well. And I'm not gonna go into this, and you guys can find that within this link as well as this one. So this one here is in previous video I already mentioned like how we're going to use the drop down. So right now I'm going to show you how to use the loop to loop through an array or objects within this drop down. Alright, welcome back. So I have made some change to the code. You can already see this like a list, and within this like the country name. So this is the array format. I'm going to format this a little bit so that you can actually see it. So you can see that this is a list of countries. I'm coming from Cambodia. This is the country Australia and US. So right down here I create like a new drop down list with the label looping through array and select, so you can already see the differences here. So right here by default we create like a dummy data that we have to type it one by one. So this is the hard coded one, and right here it actually a little bit different, which is loop through all of the lists inside the array. So this is the state coming from here. So when you click on the control key and hover on this list and click on the left mouse, it will direct you to this top one. So you can see that country right here, and it loops through so the map is actually looping through the list of the country. And you can see that I just add this up with s because the array has got multiple value, but for this it tried to loop through one by one, so I just write as list without s, and it tried to loop all of this. So this is the key and the value, and for the key one it's actually optional, but it's recommended to use that because when we try to inspect it, you will see that there's a warning or an error because we are not adding the key property here. And this is the value of the coming from the list, and this is the actual value here. So you can now see the result. So here is the result looping through an array of a country, and this is the country coming like the Australia, US. So for the submit button, it doesn't work at all right now. It's just the same as the previous one, which is coming from the picking the fruit. I haven't changed it yet, and I want to show you a little bit like changing this to say country. So what I'm going to do is I need to change that right here to country, and I change this to country. So when I change that there, I need to change here as well, and now you can see that the things stay the same. So what happened if I don't put this? So how do I comment it? There's a shortcut on the key. Just press on the Ctrl and / key, and you will have that effect. So here, if you don't put that, nothing to show you. And alright, so this is the way to loop an array coming from this array in JSON format. The next, so this is not in JSON format. The next one is going to show you in JSON format, which I'm going to do the other one as well, to show you how we going to loop through an objects rather than just plain or pure array. Right, so this is the other way to create an object. So it looks quite similar to an array. So for the array, there's only like this square bracket, and you just put whatever value it is. It can be like a string, or it can be like just number. And for the objects, it's quite a little bit similar to that, but it has like a format of JSON file. So it has got like curly bracket, and this is called the value pair, which first one is normally has been the ID, and this is like the actual value, which is the country in this case. So you will see that why we need an ID here. So now let's look through into what I just changed. So here is the one with which is quite similar to the previous one, and is the country. And when the key here, you can see the key is the country.id. So this is the benefit of using an ID here. So I'm going to show you next what it's happened after we remove this. And this is the value. The country try to loop through one by one, and it try to loop within the, so whatever the inside the countries, so whatever inside here, it's going to loop through that. It navigate to the countries, and it's going to show you the value of the country. So here's the code look like, and see what the result is. So this is the result coming from that. So it's the key, and what I'm going to do, I try to change the a little bit. So normally we just use it as item, otherwise you can see that the name is the same. It's quite confusing sometimes. So just change this to item, and you can already see the result is showing the same. Okay, so next I'm going to remove this, and you will see like a warning. So make sure that click on the save button. So you see that this is a warning: each child in a list, which is each child in an array, should have a unique key property. So unique key, in this case we try to use a key with the item that loops through the ID. So the ID is unique ID. So this is the reason why we use the key property inside an array. So the error is gone. So how you gonna try to open that inspect dialog? So right click on this, you can just click on the inspect, and it will open up this, and click on the element, normally just console. So how I'm going to show you the next one is to console log to see what the value inside that. So how you gonna do it? Open the bracket, you can just type console logged and try to show everything inside this .state.countries and save. So you will see what is inside that array. So right here, so there's 3 values inside that array. So here is the first object with the index of 0 by default, and this is the ID objects of the Cambodia, which is the first one, second one, and the third one. So this is the key value pair or the object, and normally we use it. It can be used like for the normal array. Say if you only have a normal value that you don't need to specify specifically, having like an ID as shown here. So it depends on your situation on how to use it. And right, I think that's basically it for this video. It's a little bit longer than expected. So today we have covered the code formatter extension as well as the CS React code snippet, and we also describe about the differences between functional and class component. And last but not least, this is how I will show you how to use a loop inside the React with the map keyword and the object, the one that I just showed you. Okay, so that's it for this video. I'm gonna see you in the next video, and we will describe a little bit more about an array as well. So next one will be loop through a JSON file, and we're going to describe about the how to delete duplicate values as well. And see you guys in the next video. Thank you.